The purpose of this brief demonstration tape is in response to a thread put on the OSC Fast Electric Boat forum by a senior member called Shooter. And the name of the thread was Onboard Hydro Retrival System. So what I've done is I've made a model to demonstrate the version 2 of the system, at least my response to his very, very innovative idea. And of course the concept behind it is you become very aggravated when your hydro flips over or is blown over and you have to go out and retrieve it. So the concept would be to put a second motor up near that turbine cowl that exists on many of the hydros, and so when the boat actually flips over, you can use the second motor, this spare small motor then, is a get-home type motor. But anyway, we're a bit ahead of ourselves showing you the devices that I have developed for that. When I first saw this thread, I thought it would be kind of unique to incorporate a brushless motor and also be able to use the throttle setting to control the motor on your standard transmitting system. So the module that I developed is very, very simple. I use a dampened tilt or inversion switch, very similar to a mercury switch, that's sealed in this particular module. So my 2.4 gigahertz receiver then feeds information into the module. My ESCs are plugged in here. Now in my normal upright position, which is locked on by a small piece of Velcro, the receiver then sends a signal to the normal ESC, and typically the ones I use are the Turnigy 180s, feeding a Leopard motor or such. If the boat flips over, I have a second speed controller in the INV or inverted position. In this case, my throttle setting and my full control then would come in through the receiver and then feed the ESC controlling my get-home motor. But in this case then, I can control the speed of the motor then directly through my throttle setting. The disadvantage, as was pointed out by Shooter, is the fact that this system, even though it's simple, requires a second speed controller. So, wouldn't it be nice to develop a system that only uses one large speed controller, but still can use a 2-channel radio to do all the functions mentioned? So, I built up a model, and my model then, in this plexiglass, consists of a Leopard motor, a Turnigy 180 speed controller, a 5,000 milliamp 4-cell lithium battery, and my receiver. Now this would be the inverted position because normally my larger Leopard motor and my batteries would be in the bottom or the bilge part of the boat. This then would represent the cowl. I have a small in-runner located on the top of it, and the module that I designed. Now notice there's an up position located in here. The module in turn then feeds both of the motors dependent on the orientation. So I can control full speed, the bottom motor, the normal motor, or in the inverted position, my top brushless motor. So to give you an idea of how this system actually works, what I'm going to do is turn on my transmitter. I will plug in my battery. So my main battery is going in, but I need power to the module. So what I've done is I've taken a little connector that I made up, and in this case I can use 3 cells together, which would be a total then of approximately 11.5 to 12 volts. Now again, this is the inverted position, so let's start in the normal or the upright position that we would normally have. So again, this would be the cowl of the boat, this is the bottom of the boat, and again we have our 2 motors then located underneath. So again, using my speed controller for my transmitter, you can see in the normal position my Leopard motor is continually spinning based on the response from my transmitter. My top motor then has no effect at all. But if the boat flips, in the case of a blowover, things are a little bit different. This is upside down, an unstable position. But notice now, I have the high pitch whine of my smaller in-runner motor. Now let's flip the boat back over again. Now you can see how quick the response is on this. Now the idea behind it is when the boat is actually in its inverted position, I wanted to put a more powerful motor here and be able to control the throttle so I could possibly jump over a wake, putting a boat which is in basically an unstable position and flipping it over to a stable position, therefore being able to continue on my run without having to go out or just simply having a get-home facility. So this is my simple solution, tiny module feeding both of the motors, taking the power from the LiPo connector, charge connector of the battery, and feeding both motors with a controllable ESC. Hope this generates some additional thought for members of the OC Forum. And Shooter, I thank you again for your onboard hydro retrieval system thread.